Yo, family, what is good? Welcome back again to another daily live stream. We are looking at a little bit of volatility. No surprise there in the markets. Crypto's looking a little bit red across the board. Gold and silver is rallying, which shouldn't be too surprising. And there are some incoming developments, some catalysts coming within the next few days, next week or so, which could cause more headwinds. We spoke about it in yesterday's stream off the back of that massive capitulation from a 78k or 74k Bitcoin down to a 60k Bitcoin. We're now back up, sitting around 69k, which actually was the peak of the last bull run. So this is quite a strong zone, all things considered, but will we go higher or lower from here is ultimately the question. I made the prediction, of course not financial advice, but I made the interpretation that there's a possibility that we could return back to the 78 to 85k zone before we see, the continual downtrend, so a dead cat bounce back up before coming back down. I'm still under that impression we could hopefully see this week pan out in such a means, but that is if we don't get too many black swan events or developments that will cause the opposite effect, namely geopolitical tensions, which continue to ramp up, and we got some updates from that in this stream as well. But we are also under the impression that there will be a partial government shutdown next week, which we'll get into more detail about, and that will probably cause more headwinds as well. We've been transparent about this. We don't want to hear this news, but it is the realistic situation we've got to be in. As investors, we've got to be realistic about the situation. We are probably going to see some more pain for the foreseeable future. I'm honestly predicting that February could be quite tough for us, and I just posted a massive deep dive again in my VIP community, delving into exactly why we believe that, following all these articles that we look through here. I did post a bit of a summary about that in the general chat in the free Discord server as well, which, to summarize this, as I put it bigger screen now, the latest macro and fundamental economic outlook, what we need to prepare for. As it stands, last week, particularly in the last 3 days, 72 hours, we saw the global economy meet a sort of crossroads. You saw Germany showing the first signs of credible recovery, which is good. You've seen many central banks around the world, Fed, Bank of England, European Central Bank, signaling some dovish pivot, which is reassuring, of course, even though labour market still seems rather sticky, although the labour market being sticky is because of AI more so than just unemployment. Well, they gotta go hand in hand, I guess. But there's also a big eyes being set on Japan as well, and how it could impact the yen carry trade, and some other developments and updates as well, which, to reiterate, I did provide a massive deep dive about that all in my VIP earlier today, which is why we are prepared for what is to come and anticipating continual headwinds probably throughout February. Does that mean we're going to come down to 30k Bitcoin? I don't think so. I don't think we'll come back that far, but I am not against the possibility of potentially seeing a 50 to maybe 55k retracement soon enough within the next maybe month and a half or so. Do we make a return to 78k? We'll talk about it more so. I think there's still a possibility of such, but it's quite tough to tell because we have a government shutdown quickly approaching. To explain exactly why, we saw that government shutdown happen last weekend due to the dispute between the funding of the DHS, which funds ICE, and the border control and other elements, where the Dems didn't want to sign the bill to help that. Even some Republicans didn't want to sign that bill due to all the outbreak, if you will, in Minnesota, Minneapolis and other areas as well. So the bill was pushed forward on the premise that the agencies would be funded for a full year, but DHS would get 2 weeks of funding, and that's it. Just 2 weeks. And we're getting close to that 2 weeks again. So once we reach the end of the 2 weeks, the DHS will have no more funding, which means that that agency, that particular instance industry will be shut down. So you'll get a partial government shutdown unless a new vote or agreement has come to the table, which right as it stands right now, there has been no update on that front. So we'll likely get a partial government shutdown on Feb 14th, on Valentine's Day, which could cause more headwinds in the market. We are seeing continued strain as well. I'm going to play this video in a second on Fox Business with Brian Armstrong expressing that banks are working hard to stop the crypto market structure bill. In my perception, is more so just to stop these crypto industries generating rewards from from stablecoin yields. Banks want to generate those rewards. So, but either way, we're seeing a bit of a roadblock right now with market structure bill, which is also not ideal. We're listening very closely here to Brian Armstrong.
Got the Genius Act passed into law, which actually did enable stablecoin rewards to happen. The banks had their own concerns, and we reached a good outcome in the Genius Act. And now the banks really are coming and trying to undermine the president's crypto agenda. I mean, these are the same banks that debanked him and his family, right? And they want to come in and say that Americans should not be able to actually earn more money on their money. They're trying to protect their own profit margins, taking money out of the pockets of hardworking average Americans and putting it into the coffers of these big banks that are hitting record profits. And so our view is that there should be a level playing field where banks and crypto companies can lean into stablecoin legislation as an opportunity, and that includes paying rewards to Americans so that they can earn more money on their money.
So that had been the main dispute right now between the market structure bill, the Clarity Act, and we have also seen US banks starting to raise concerns over the already approved Genius Act, the stablecoin bill, which won't go into effect until January 2027, so we still have got time for that. But this butting of heads, this roadblock has stifled crypto innovation and adoption right now, which is not ideal. So with that, paired on with the government shutdown potentially reapproaching, and then continued geopolitical tensions right now between the US and Iran, with Trump now signing a new order that allows the United States to impose an additional 25% tariffs on any country doing business with Iran. Once more, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. That's not the stance I'm making, but the stance I'm making is the idea of using the tariffs on other nations is not, historically, even in the last year we've seen, has not been very well received. Look at the markets since it started ramping up a lot more so. This big crash that happened from the all-time high was a result of Trump reissuing tariffs on China because they do something they did with the rare earth metals. It didn't like that. So they issued tariffs on them. Now, that might have been the right thing to do, but that announcement alone, that headline alone, caused markets to capitulate. And we've seen a continual effort of that with now more tensions growing in the Middle East, government shutdowns, and just a general lack of faith right now and strength and hopium in the investor sentiment due to all these uncertainties. So with that happening, we could see some more downward pressure soon. I'm hoping that this week will be reassuring. I think we have got some reassuring data coming out this week, like the non-farm payroll that meant to come out on Friday. It got delayed. It should be coming up this week, I believe. As well as, just looking through what I said to my VIPs earlier, we should also be seeing the CPI data, which isn't the metric the Fed used to use, PCE, but it's still important inflation metrics to let us know how the economy is currently handling itself. So we'll see some good macro data coming out next week. Hopefully that'll give us an understanding on the markets, and hopefully that'll allow the economy and the markets and Bitcoin to make a bit of a recovery. And then we'll see what happens the following week, which things are looking like we'll see a few more negative price action coming soon enough, which for me just means we get a better entry because of all the information, once more to reiterate, on this section here that I posted about, while giving a lot of outlooks on the general economy, on markets, on crypto. The underarching sentiment is that we will be finding a better entry zone coming through soon enough. And I even posted a lot of documentation in here as well, which provides very similar sentiment that, short term, we'll see pain, but coming in towards latter half of 2026, the accumulations then will be very, very apparent, and you'll start seeing every institution, every investor start to aggressively start to stack for what will be a generational run when the time comes. We're seeing regulations coming through, more trust coming through. We'll see more investments coming through. Evidently, institutions are very, very optimistic about tokenization, about crypto, about AI. The big reason why you're seeing a lot of capital rotation and a lot of negative price action right now is because AI faith has also fallen off a little bit. So people are rotating out of tech and AI and speculative assets into proven assets as well. The industrial sector, into energy. That's where the money's been going right now. It will come back. To the question of when, not a matter of if. Bitcoin 69k, ETH 2,060. Kaspa at 3.18 cents or 0.031, down 0.3% of the daily time frame, which has been a crucial zone for Kaspa in between the support around here. We could see Kaspa potentially make another return up to the upper end of the support band here, which would be around 3.6, give or take. And if we do reach there, I might look into personally taking a short trade. My own personal belief, of course, do your own research, trade at your own discretion. But if we return to this upper end here, I might put a short trade in the potential that we end up seeing government shutdown, continual geopolitical tensions, US versus Iran, all these headwinds, markets come back down, and then potentially make a bit of gain off that as well. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, there are many other assets we're looking into. We've got some short trades set up right now in the VIP. So if you want to follow along with them, tune into all the alpha documentation and the research we're doing repeatedly, daily in there, and much more. VIP, check it out. 7-day free access or a 1-month free access through BYDFI, our affiliate exchange. All information is available in our free server, Discord as well. Links are also down below. Now, before we get into a bit more of the sources, we got some other important posts, some from Greg as a warning to people, and then some Kaspa content and some other content as well. Before we do, once more, welcome back family. Dimitar was first here. Only just Gosu just missed out. But welcome back, you two. You're doing very, very well. Shooter Crypto Elite is here as always. Blaming the internet is always a safe option, brother. Welcome back, my man. Welcome back, LB on the checker, my man. And you too, Casmo, the Casmonauts. Welcome back, my man. Hope you're doing very, very well. Now, I am not too bothered right now in the market sentiment, as I've been quite transparent about. I do think we go lower, and of course we are going to hear that FUD getting louder and louder. If I load up CoinMarketCap, we can see that sentiment right now is absolutely in the bin. 8 is extreme fear right now, and I don't think we'll be out of extreme fear for some time right now. I did post actually one of my documentation, my alpha documentation even, which came from Michael Howell talking about the crypto crash. He kind of explained that the 4-year cycle, which is how people are perceiving this market right now, it looks like it's following along on that right now because that's what history suggests we should be doing. But it's actually more so a case of all of the debt that was piled on during the COVID era, where you just saw a lot of debt piled on with 0% interest, and now the interest rates is a lot higher. That's also why Trump is so adamant on pushing interest rates much further down, because he understands that, you know, COVID, we're talking 2021, we're now in 2026, a lot of these debts, these loans, having to be repaid back right now at a higher premium. If you get the interest rates down, you have to pay less on that. So he's trying to get the interest rate down, so he hasn't got to pay so much on the debt right now, which is part of the issue. That's why you don't want to have to refinance your debt at a higher level and therefore paying more and more on top of it. But because of that, therefore, it's acting like a 4-year cycle, when in actuality it's just the case of the debt happening the way it's happening. It's a case of COVID. We're still feeling the effects of COVID and that pandemic right now. But once more, I still think that we'll see that recovery this year. It's just a case of being patient for it. Hopefully it'll come through soon enough. And you should be ideally right now looking for those assets that you think will be ones that make strong recovery. Of course, Kaspa's our belief, make the strongest recovery of them all. But there are many others out there as well that also have a good shot to do very, very well. I've put the documentation about it already in regards to what institutions are looking into, be it ZK proof, so privacy aspects, be it those that have that can prove that they are suiting economic needs and finance, as Dow Jones highlighted right here. Right now, what we're seeing repeatedly from all major institutions is the proof. They need to see proof that these institutions, these assets, these projects are being truthful in what they're claiming to do. Which is why this is a bit of a warning here from Greg. Shout out to you, brother, one of my mods, which is something that we need to keep an account of, which is all of us should be aware very well in the Kaspa community about BlockDAG. It is, by all intended purposes, a scam project. I have not heard anything reassuring about it in the slightest. But this is BlockDAG. The issue with BlockDAG is, with Kaspa being the growing asset that it is, being a BlockDAG architecture, the project BlockDAG is effectively, in a sense, coining the term. And that means that people are searching up BlockDAG, even though it's really indicative of Kaspa, they end up probably finding BlockDAG this and finding this and thinking it's a scam. And BlockDAG in itself is not a scam, but this project is a scam. As Greg highlights here, they're going to be doing a launch on exchanges on the 16th of February, which is a blatant rip-off attempt to hijack the BlockDAG Kappa movement. I would care to agree as well. This is currently what the BlockDAG project seems to look like. I don't trust them in the slightest. Are there gains to be made in it? Maybe, but you'll be doing so at a bit of a risk, to say the very least. I would not touch it for a 10-foot pole or 50-foot pole, honestly. So be very careful what you look into, and always make sure you're double, triple checking your research before it comes to it. We have got some interesting updates regarding Casper either way, the actual BlockDAG. We've spoken this about already with Michael Sutton saying that on Sunday, so tomorrow, you'll be seeing these key elements implemented. Covenants++, mini update teaser, will be restarting the testnet 12 probably on Sunday. He confirmed it's going to be Sunday, hopefully. So on Sunday, they'll restart the testnet 12 and implementing features like Covenants IDs, sequence commits, base covenants, ZK precompiles, and Silverscript, all looking very, very interesting as well. And as asked here, it's great to see, but what is kind of why is it so big? What's it mean for it? And as Safe highlighted here, who is one of the devs at Casper, this is because DeFi is what will separate Casper from other blockchains. It will show how well it scales. Casper is a world sequencer. And we've got a new update here from Safe as well, which I think is also very important. It's a new opcode that he hopes will be implemented for the testnet 12 update tomorrow. Op transaction input block DAA score, now renamed to op transaction input DAA score, is something that I'm trying to enable on Casper. The particular opcode is interesting because it introduces a completely new dimension in Casper transactions, namely the temporal dimensions. The temporal dimensions will give Casper transactions a notion of time. This allows script signatures to the ability to analyze the DAA score of the UTXO that is being used as input. So why should we care? Well, analyzing the input DA score is particularly useful for financial applications such as option contracts, prediction markets, voting systems, and so on and so forth. Given Casper's higher blocks per speed, it allows for the system to be settled at a much faster speed than competitors, improving the UX. So to summarize, this opcode that he wants to try and implement onto the testnet 12 is to basically make a new addition feature that makes Casper more compatible and more desirable to financial applications. The ambition is to have this opcode as part of the next testnet 12 reset, which is tomorrow, where I will start experimenting with the R&D initiative on script design for how this opcode can be used in the previously mentioned example applications. This is huge. This is a very big deal. We come back to it, repeatedly now. All the developments coming up for Casper is shocking. Coming back to this post again, showcasing all the stuff coming right now. You've got the building of VProc right now, Dagnite, you've got the building of the Python SDK, ZK, opcodes, all these sort of stuff coming out right now is unbelievable. And these all are going to be significantly important building blocks for Casper to become this next new world sequencer. Because the understanding we have right now is that there are many, many projects out there who seem to already have that first mover advantage. Your AVAXs, your Quants, your Omdus, your XRPs, XLMs, Solana, Ethereum, whatever it may be. They all have the bigger capital, the bigger advantage, the bigger partnerships right now. But can they handle real world adoption? I haven't done a deep dive into all of those projects, but I can say with quite confidence that most of them don't. They don't have the capacity to fit real world adoption. They aren't sufficient enough, and they're going to bottleneck. Right now, some of these applications already bottleneck without institutional adoption. So how's it going to manage to handle real adoption when you're having trillions flowing in daily? They won't be able to. While they still not have the proof of concept right now, with architecture alone, Casper is one of the few, if not only, projects in this space that can actively handle multiple billions, if not trillions of transactions without bottlenecking. I mean, you've seen Casper already managed to handle, what was it, 150 odd million in a day, which is already sufficient, and that had no bottlenecking at all either. That is significant. You'll see a lot more of that coming out. That's why the introduction of Igra Labs is layer 2 should be going mainnet soon enough as well. Casplex being a stable console board as well, and upgrading as well. All these sort of developments are so important to give Casper that proof of concept, so institutions can look at Casper and saying, oh, this project does what it says it can do. Let's give it a test run. I'm sure they're already using a test run through KRI and the Warp Core and the Sandbox environment. Not to mention the other Warp Core projects that are on Casper as well, GeoSil and Agent Flows. Not to mention the other ones like Olive Chain and stuff like that as well. So I'm sure we're seeing projects already being utilized on Casper in the back ends. But we are at a position right now where we are going through reallocation. No true winner has seemingly been picked just yet. You've got some that are the front runners, but I don't think there's been a winner pick just yet, because right now nothing seems to fit the agenda. We went through a document, I believe not too long ago, which was in regards to stable coins. I'm trying to remember where it was exactly. Oh yeah, it was the post from Visa. The post from Visa where they talked about how stablecoins are not ready. Visa and MasterCard say stablecoins lack product market fit for everyday payments, especially in developed markets. They're testing blockchain rails, but see crypto as mostly trading, not a consumer threat. The blockchains they've used do not fit the technology required to not bottleneck. They cannot fit the everyday payment narrative that Visa and MasterCard want to use blockchain for, crypto for. That's why I made the video talking about why Casper probably is the best option for them, because Casper right now is the only application in this that has not had congestion or bottlenecking, and has got that proof of concept, but it needs more, and more will come through as well. And I believe more will come through. It's just a matter of when. Welcome back, Falco Bro. You're doing very, very well, my man. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, feel free to ask, because it's not going to be a very big deep dive stream. There's not too much happening today. We are all kind of patiently waiting for what's happening next week, the unfold. To make the announcement now as well, to the members, courtesy of Falco's generosity as always, the members who are part of the YouTube, you will be getting access to tomorrow's executive roundtable. So effectively right now, the plan is every fortnight, every 2 weeks, the executive roundtable that we post in the VIP will be posted to the members of the YouTube. Of course, you can listen in live time and ask questions in live time, alongside get access to all the documentation, the research, the trade alerts, and so much more in the VIP community. And there are free trials, you can get access to that for a limited time for free. So you want to get access even more to the community and actively make gains and learn more, get ahead of the markets, check out the VIP. But otherwise, members will get access to the VIP roundtable every fortnight, learning what these streams are in a lot more informative detail about what we're looking into and what's important as well. If you want to find that out, either get a member and tune into that, get a little inkling on what's going to be coming, or sign up to the free trial of the VIP and tune into tomorrow's roundtable as well. Welcome back, Banana Republic, man. I bought 50k Casper for what felt like dirt cheap that day. Yeah, honestly, that is a bag and a steal, brother. Right now, Casper's only at 3.1 cents, and earlier went down to 2.6, give or take 2.5. So definitely dirt cheap Casper. I am still under the impression we can see lower. I'm under the impression we can see lower, and that'll be fine. I'll definitely scoop up a bag at a lower price, considering what they're building and what's going to be coming out later on this year, 2026. The fall and rise of AI, the fall and rise of real world assets, and the adoption that comes with it, with regulations coming on board. I think we'll see it as well. So watching you use the term Fortnite unironically is all the payoff I need today. Crazy. Yeah, I know the term Fortnite, it just means 14 days, but everyone now attributes Fortnite to the game. I used to play that back in the day, I can't lie. That was simpler times, to put it that way. Welcome back, Dimitar, brother. You're doing very, very well. Any sharks? I'm sure there are quite a few sharks in the chat right now. If not, they're probably watching on playback. But I'm sure there are a fair number here who still believe in Casper. We can look at the wallet supply as well right now and see that the wallet supply has not shifted in the slightest. Well, actually, we should have had a look at that, actually, because might have changed. 3 months? Yeah, it didn't see much of a dip at all when the price fell off so significantly. 3 months, 6 months, fell a little bit off a little bit. 1 year, tiny little pullback. 2 years are still holding strong, same with 3, and same with 4. So people are not selling their Casper still. Just not selling it at all. They're holding on for all dear life. We look at the wallet address as well right now. We got no changes in wallet 1. We had 28 million inflows into a Gate wallet, 4 million into a Mexi wallet. Uphold got a 300,000. Saw a few outflows earlier today as well, but a lot more inflows right now due to either capital reallocation or people selling off their Kappa back to the exchanges, which understandable, but I think we are at a local bottom. Doesn't mean we won't go lower, but I think we're at a local bottom right now, and we will probably end up seeing a bit of a dead cat bounce, a bit of a rebound before we go a bit lower, and then we'll find that absolute bottom later on in the cycle, probably close towards the midterms. It depends whether we get these developments coming through in a timely manner, the market structure built, and less of this stuff. This is kind of being the main driver right now for negative price action. We need to get that kind of removed. This is also if you bought every dip on his advice, should be broke by now. I I've said we're going lower. Wealth Ranger is a typical fudster though, so I get that, but I've said we're going lower. So, and I said, that's completely down to you if you bought or not, but I said we're going lower. I said I'd DC into Casper, but I'm not buying anything else right now. I'm holding a lot of stables. So that's on you, brother. But yeah, we've got this post here as well that I wanted to get into from Matt Hogan, the CIO of Bitwise, which I think is also quite important to understand, which is talking about the crypto market that we're in right now, which is very much narrative driven. Right now, people are wondering what new narratives will lead us into the next bull market. Some are even wondering if there are any new narratives, and there are quite a few. In fact, there are 9 according to Matt Hogan, who is in the Wall Street inner circles, talking to these leading institutions and whatnot. And he perceives that some of the big narratives that are going to help push towards the next bull run will come through revenue. So the proof, which go back to the Dow Jones documentation that we posted earlier in the week, or earlier last week, we spoke about from Dow Jones saying that what these companies now demand is proof and evidence, demonstrations that crypto serves real economic needs. So we need to therefore see the revenue come through. Blockchains are currently generating around 7 to 8 billion in revenue. That will scale up to hundreds of billions as we go mainstream. They'll need to see AIFI. So AI agents won't use bank accounts, they'll use crypto, stablecoins, and DeFi. That's a big thing as well. And we can use that, before we get into more of them, use that as a segue into another key element that we're going to get into, which is talking about this post here. Tyler Winklevoss, CEO, co-founder of Gemini here, highlighted that soon the robots will need crypto and make this all a distant memory. This current correction we're seeing right now is tough, to put it bluntly. But at the same time, it is, from what I've been reading through for all the economists, all the leading researchers, people who are trusted that I've been looking through and posting to my VIP community, this documentation, this is a capital rotation and a necessary one to allow these institutions to have the lower entry before this big run-up happens. With AI becoming a growing narrative, not even a niche anymore, a narrative that is desired by institutions, robots and AI can't do what they want to do on traditional rails. It's incumbent, it's not quick enough, it's too slow. They need crypto tech to be able to function accordingly. And this individual here just said that, Tyler is right. AI agents will need crypto. They need to pay for services, get paid for work, build reputation across platforms. No bank will give them the account. That's also one reason why in my playbook, my AI playbook, Virtuals protocol is one that I have been looking into for some time now. And it is a part of that, because Virtuals is one of the AI agents or AI projects that its whole network is about building an infrastructure and platform for AI agents to build on top of. Many of these other AI projects have a similar sort of play on or business model, but they all have their unique benefits. Tau is about having subnets where you have AI agents that are competing with each other and learn against each other as well, which is very important. Render is a platform where it has its own benefits, but its main selling point for me is being the Airbnb for GPUs. Right now, trying to buy GPUs, NVIDIA is so expensive, and you can't, and there's not only a finite amount of them. With Render, the idle GPU that's not being used can be rented out. So that's a big benefit, reason why I'm so bullish on Render as well. Virtuals is an economy where you can build AI agents as well. They've got multiple different avenues for that. They built 3 new sub projects as well that are for different levels. So institution-wise, builder-wise, and just the general retail-wise, and what their AI agents platforms can do. So one is, the retail one's a lot more high risk, high reward, because it's kind of more so like to give a comparison, I guess it's a bit more like a pump fund element. And the institutional ones are going to be a real use case for Virtuals going forward as well. But I think Virtuals is going to be a crucial element. Will it be the almighty winner going forward? I don't think you can say that for sure, but I think Virtuals is definitely a strong project that will probably see a strong recovery when the markets rebound. And this virtual posters came through as well with their ETHAI, talking about the ERC 8004 is live and all graduated agents on ACP. So this means that it's quite a big deal where all graduated agents will end up getting a benefit of being recognized on the platform from Ethereum. New agents, reviews, and ratings will automatically get sent also on-chain via ERC 8004 under the agent identities. This is a pretty big deal and a big update as well that does benefit the likes of Virtuals as well. So that does not mean I'm buying Virtuals right now. Of course not. I'm not buying anything right now. I'm holding stables and I'm just DCing into Casper. But what I'm looking at right now are assets that I think will make a very strong recovery, ones that are fitting the narrative that institutions are looking into, what my research and my VIP research, my team's research telling us. Assets like Virtuals could be one that fits that narrative. For me, Casper will definitely fit that narrative, and there's some other ones as well, which once more you could check out the AI playbook and learn more about it all in there. There are free trials available for 7 days or for 1 month. Just check it out. Links are in the description, and also information in the physical server as well. I think we need more user-friendly wallets like Phantom for Casper. All these bridges from layer 1 to layer 2 is not for the normies who aren't tech-heavy like most of us. You're right in that aspect, but there are elements of that. For example, I believe there's a bridge of elements, or bridge of sorts, MetaMask to Casplex. If I'm not mistaken, there is a bridge of sorts that allows that. And I'm sure you'll see IGRA also having some bridging elements from, well-renowned known wallets into Casper as well. Of course, bridging from layer 1 to layer 2 is a bit daunting at times, but there will be, I'm sure, elements that kind of allow it to stay in the layer 2. I don't think they want to do that too much though, because if you build a mechanism that, like, the issue you're seeing right now with Ethereum, the fragmentation issue, is because it's all done on the layer 2. It's how we got used to it. It's what's easier, definitely. But the problem with that is it means Ethereum right now has a scalability and a gas fee issue, and it's fragmented heavily because it's all done in the layer 2 element. The Phantom wallets, the Base, the Arbitriums. If you do the very same thing on Casper, it causes the very same issues. So that's why I don't think they want to overdo it. I do think it would be important to have an element of that. And I think that our connections, I know that if you were to sign up to Casplex and use like Casper.com or whatever, you can connect through ERC, the MetaMask wallet. So there are elements of that, but the last thing I want to do is to make everyone just stick to that element, and therefore it could potentially end up fragmenting the Casper layer 1 if not done accordingly. I'm sure there'll be workarounds and stuff done for it. I'll see if we can find out some more going forward as well. Maybe we try and get some of the layer 2 devs, if possible, on the Tuesday night with me and CryptoPump's blockchain banter show, and see if we can find out some more if there are any plans on how to do that. If you bought every Bitcoin dip from 2023 through April 2025, just sold everything in October, you would have most likely made a multiple X on your money. Yeah, 100%. Like, but it's a matter of perspective, right? Many people were in altcoins because altcoins are perceived as a high risk, high reward, multiple X multiplier, right? Bitcoin's a safe haven. Bitcoin kind of guarantees you gains, so to speak. Of course, not financial advice. So Bitcoin made insane gains through the ETFs, through institutional adoption, through governments having treasuries and stuff, all this stuff building up more. So Bitcoin did fantastic. One of the best years we've seen for Bitcoin in a long time. It was fantastic. People anticipated altcoins to do the very same thing, but it didn't. And that's the issue. So therefore, you may see many people go back to Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean that altcoins are terrible. It just means that altcoins didn't catch the same wave. Because, I mean, look at the Bitcoin dominance. We understand and we know that Bitcoin dominance is also indicative of altcoin cycle. The lowest Bitcoin dominance got in this cycle was down here at 57. 57. The last cycle, altcoins started, like, think about Solana last cycle. That started running in August. So in the last cycle, we went to Bitcoin dominance falling down to 40% in May. It wasn't 3 months later, until Solana started running here. So you saw Bitcoin dominance go from 72 last cycle all the way down to 40. Altcoins didn't run until here, for the most part. But in this cycle here, where did we went above 50 from June 2023, and then we did nothing. We didn't get an altcoin. Bitcoin dominance stayed way too high for way too long. So altcoins didn't have that chance to run. That's ultimately what happened. So you're right. Bitcoin made a lot. You had Bitcoin, you made a multiple X on your money, yes, but that's a case of because Bitcoin dominance was also really, really high. Everyone anticipated that Bitcoin dominance would fall off at some point. Altcoins would get their time to run, and I still think that could happen sometime this year potentially, or start happening sometime this year at least. But Bitcoin dominance is still extremely high right now, extremely high, still near 60%. You can't expect altcoins to rally right now. It's unrealistic to expect altcoins to do anything when Bitcoin dominance is 60% of the total market. So what Bitcoin does, markets and assets should follow in suit. But then that's just going to fall off. The reason why is simple, because what institutions want are assets that can actually fit the next economic step. They want demonstration that crypto serves real economic needs. What is Bitcoin's economic need besides a store of value? It can't be used as a medium of exchange. Maybe you'd be using a unit of account. Maybe. So instead of it being, $69,000 for one Bitcoin, it means that one Bitcoin is, just find a weird way to explain that, but if things will be denominated in the Bitcoin as opposed to denominated in the dollar. You might see that in the future to some extent, but it's not a bit of exchange, too slow, only a store of value. So in that regard, therefore, Bitcoin dominance is high. Bitcoin's going to still rally. It's still going to control the markets, but it won't be that way forever because it hasn't got any intrinsic value. It hasn't got any use case, any utility. That's where you look at the altcoins that are actively building. Your Ethereum, your Solanas, your Caspers, of course, being our sole bet, our strongest bet. Other assets are also providing their own elements of utility: Tau, Render, Virtual, CC, Quant, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, that's my stance on that. I don't trust MetaMask. Lost years ago some NFT because I gave Whiteout, knowing my private key was to the site. I mean, yeah, I don't use MetaMask either. I used to use MetaMask once upon a time. I think I've got some MetaMask wallets that I use to like some websites. I think in crypto, I mean, you have to sign up to certain things through a MetaMask. They don't support other wallets, so I just got MetaMask wallets that don't have any funds in it at all. That I use to sign up to them. But I mean, yeah, I understand having that lack of trust in certain things. Like people don't trust Ledger now for a little bit because Ledger have had their own security breaches here and there. That's why most people have kind of shifted to Tangent or One Key, more so Tangent. Voice break. But I'm sure elements like Phantom will be added to Casper at some point in the future. I don't see why it couldn't be, because one of the big things that we're seeing from Institution as well is also, to quote a document that I posted earlier in my VIP, which, to reiterate, you can get full access to the documentation, sign up to the VIP right now, 7-day free trial. A document that came from Centrifuge spoke about, and I quote, where is it? It spoke about, I will find it. Where is it? Okay, well, I'll find it and then I'll quote it. But what it basically just said is that is having the whole like interoperability element is no longer like it's a base case now. Unless it wasn't Century, it was somebody else. Let me. Sorry, I'm actually just trying to find. I literally posted this earlier, so where is it? Okay, I can't. I'll make sure to try and find it while I can. But the whole premise of what I was trying to get to is that for Casper to have that survivability element that we're all hoping and praying and believing it will do, it can't. Originally, interoperability was a benefit that made a crypto project stand out. Now it is a baseline. You need to have that. You absolutely need to have that if you want to be remotely considered as a competitor. Without it, you are just frankly irrelevant. That's why it's important Casper gets the layer 2s up and gets the stable coins on board so they actually can compete in these markets, which they're doing. They're completely doing. Why can't I find it? Okay, well, I will just come back to it later, hopefully, if I can find it. Where are my other questions right now? You and Pump should get James Allen on the show to get an outside perspective on Casper. To the thought. Yeah, I think it's worth reaching out to him, actually. I'll speak to Joe about it and see if it's worth trying to get James Allen, aka Cityscape, and see what his perspective is, because I think he's a Web3 developer. He seems to be a great voice of reason, so it wouldn't be a bad idea probably to get him on board and hear what his thoughts are on Casper, his journey of ICP, and his understanding of what's coming through as well. It could be quite insightful, to the very least. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. And here's me still trying to find the exact quote because I want to. Can't believe I can't find it. I mean, to be fair, the reason why is because there's so much documentation that our team's posted in there, and I saw that and I read it. I was like, oh, that's just makes so much sense. And now I'm trying to find where I read it. I'm struggling to find where I read it now. Okay, well, I will. Well, there it is. Oh, there you go. Thank you. All right, cool. So I'll bring it over. Just a screenshot from where it was. Tokenization becomes a default strategy for asset managers. It talks about. Is it this one I wanted? No, it wasn't even that one I wanted. It was this one. Yeah, utility-led growth for tokenized assets. Am I tweaking? No, here it is. Distribution matters more. There you go. Look, having my moment here. So yeah, issuing on-chain is no longer the primary challenge. The question is whether assets can integrate with existing capital pools, operate across environments where investors already hold positions, and maintain liquidity at scale. Cross-chain availability, compatibility, and credible secondary markets are becoming baseline, not differentiators. That for me is a key element, and that's just one of the documentation that of many that my team posted earlier, or my team found and I posted earlier, which just goes into detail about the importance of interoperability. Is no longer, what before that was Ethereum's advantage, being scalable or being interoperable. Everything else now that's a baseline. If you're not interoperable, you're going to be becoming irrelevant quite soon enough. So that's why it's important. Casper is getting these EVM compatibilities, and you got Casplex doing other virtual machine compatibility to Solana, I'm sure, in the future as well. I think IGRA doing that as well. This interoperability is going to be very, very important. And you got KRI doing their own elements as well. So yeah, I think it's important we see this continue throughout 2026 and beyond as the market starts to reallocate, rotate capital, and find that baseline going forward as well. But yeah, if no one's got any more questions, feel free to ask. But otherwise, if that is it, that may conclude today's live stream. Quite a short one as well today, but there is quite bog standard what's happening right now. Just continued uncertainty in the markets. We hopefully will see that change soon enough. Tomorrow's stream will, of course, probably be a lot more informative, especially for those who are members. And also part of the VIP who'll get access to the executive roundtable that we post, probably going live in and around 4 or 5 p.m. UK time, give or take. And you'll get insight onto everything we spoke about on the VIP and documentation which provides some form of insight on how this year should plan out, what we should be doing so, and how we should be allocating our capital, and what strategy we should be using right now while we prepare for the markets and see what move they make next. So those who are members or those who are the VIP, stay tuned for tomorrow. It can be a big, big stream. And remember, next week we could see some more headwinds, maybe towards the end of the week with another government shutdown looming, with potentially more geopolitical tensions with US and Iran. When that happens, we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we haven't got through this all stuff as well, actually. After you make a few millions, are you moving to US? We'll see. We'll see right now. Right now, I'm not too sure. Right now, I'm more so inclined to say somewhere in Asia, but US might not be a bad shout. I didn't get through this document though, so let's go through this one with Matt Hogan real quick. Fiat currencies are dying. As they do, the world will turn to hard currencies, including Bitcoin. The institutional adoption of crypto is not a 2-year blip, it's a 10-year megatrend. Patience is happening and measured in trillions. We haven't actually felt the benefits of positive crypto regulations yet. Genius Act doesn't even take effect until January 2027, and then we still got the Clarity Act. We're still waiting for that stuff as well. So we are currently hitting the brakes right now, and no one's really pulled the trigger just yet, but they'll come through soon enough. Stablecoins are temporarily stalled, but that will end up being the $1 trillion backbone for the 21st century payments. Today, 20 billion in assets is tokenized, but the global equity market is 120 trillion, bonds 140 trillion, and real estate is 300 trillion. So in other words, we've taken down less than 1%, 0.1% of the market. This is going to come all into crypto. We haven't even scratched the surface with DeFi yet. As the world is tokenized, as DeFi protocols improve their tokenomics in the face of clear regulations, it will be a 100x or bigger, which is what I'm ultimately looking for. So this is his personal view, but I would care to agree the size of capital kind of comes to this space and the multiplier that can come with it is going to be astronomical, generational wealth. Vitalik's, of course, coming back to Ethereum to make some changes to help. And that's also proof of how big this space is going to be. Not all of them will work out, but there's a lot of volatility, a lot of catalysts that will come through that will allow us to make a strong recovery. There are going to be more corrections in the short term, but the next few years are going to be very, very exciting. Does it look like we entered a bear market for 26, or obviously it's still possible? Right now, I'm still very much 50-50, in all honesty. If I was to lean one way, I think we see continued headwinds and therefore potentially more bear market sentiment for the next few months, weeks, sort of thing. I think we see that recovery later this year. Now, do we get an altcoin season? Tough to say, because we're still very much in a Bitcoin dominant market, and unless you see a mass flood of ETFs this year, then I think you're still going to see Bitcoin dominance stay as high as it is, if not higher, for quite a while longer. The altcoin cycle will come though. I think we see some more headwinds in the short term, maybe a few months, and then and that will be our accumulation zone, the time we've got to start buying when it's a lot lower. Of course, at your own discretion, not a financial advisor. And then we'll see the markets return following the regulations, following the AI trend coming back again, and all the other developments that we're looking into that suggest that this market should see a lot of growth latter half of 2026, provided we don't get those black swans, recession potential warnings, more tariff and geopolitical headlines and all sorts of stuff that causes headwinds. How the new Fed chair acts will be very important as well. He comes in May. If he ends up acting in a very, very hawkish manner, that won't be good for the markets. So we need to see him maybe not as rigid as people perceive he might be. So I have to wait for that as well. Thailand, I actually haven't thought about Thailand. I'm also thinking Japan, honestly, which I know, considering Japan's economy right now, is crazy to say that. But if saying it at the same time, Japan's economy, if it's crumbling and you have a lot of money, you go to Japan, you're living a life of a king. And I've been to Japan once before, and it was unbelievable there. Japan, I'm also, as you can probably see in the background there, I've been before, and I do occasionally dabble in the animes and stuff like that. You've got my Killer statue here as well, my little guilty pleasure, if you will. But yeah, I very much love going to Japan. So if I was to consider somewhere in Asia to live out, it would probably be Japan. Right now, at least. That might change. It might change. I was planning retiring in Spain, but they're slowly killing the Spain I grew up in. I was the same for the UK, Gosu, honestly. I'm born, bred here, love the UK. Grew up here, I've gone through, all the trials and tribulations of this country. And the UK is, for me, the start of the nail in the coffin was Brexit. Brexit royally screwed the UK economy. That was the start of it. It was already kind of on a downtrend, but the UK economy actually was so incredibly strong. It was so strong. The pound, compared to other currencies, was so strong. I think at one point the pound to the dollar was like ridiculous. Let me have a quick look. GBP to USD pre Brexit. The British pound fell 13% against the dollar before Brexit. That's a significant drop. Yeah, so 10 years ago, when COVID happening, the pound was $1.32. £1 was $1.32. That's significant. And now they are a lot. Actually saying that right now, it's $1.36. Wait, really? Wait, let me go back. Yeah, okay, here you go. This is pre-Brexit. 171. That was the height before Brexit. And Brexit happened, and now you're down to 136. Pound's still stronger than dollar. It was even higher at one point, once upon a time, back in before the housing crisis. But Brexit royally screwed the value and the strength of and then even now we're still picking up the pieces from that. Our trade routes in Europe have been screwed from it. That's what started a lot of the issues for me in the UK, and it's not got any better. And the current leaders who are, candidates, if you will, I haven't got faith in them. So I'm not happy with the UK. So I'm also would love to retire here, but I'm more inclined to leave and just, I guess, retire my parents here if they want to stay here, which they probably will. They live their whole life here. They push the button down on purpose to flush out the weak hands. Yeah, I think that's definitely whether you'll see 2026 be a parabolic year or not, I'm inclined to say hopefully and likely yes, but they definitely did do a massive flush and shakeout. And that's, you're seeing right now, as my research also suggests, that this summary that I put in the general chat, for those who are in the free server, you would have seen it. The summary here, one of a 4-part I put in there, it also suggested the whole summary that I put in the VIP, that all of the selling has been retail based. Institutions actually been buying the dips. Of course, they're not being able to outbuy the selling, but they've been buying the dips. Institutions are buying it. They're not selling, or they're barely selling. There's they're mainly buying. Trump, CZ, and elites are all in this. I believe so as well. Japanese chicks like black guys. Some of them do. I have been, abroad sometimes, and there is a general consensus that, Asian girls like foreigners, be it white guys or black guys. But there are also some that, as with anything, some just like to stay within their own race, and that's perfectly fine. Got no qualms about that at all. If you want to stay within your race, that's perfectly fine. Just don't don't start attacking me for being different, basically. That's all I'd say. Look at ETH chart. A market maker went crazy on 1 minute chart, bounced back and forth. Yeah, shameless. Shameless behavior. What is that? What is that? What is that? Yeah. Terrible. Terrible stuff there. Game is rigged, beyond rigged. All we can do now is just analyze. That's why there's an inherent risk with trading, especially if you're doing day trading, where you're kind of looking at the 1 minute chart and trying to analyze that stuff. Because, I mean, hell, anyone who's doing that, anyone who was in that, they would have got screwed, most likely. Anyone who's day trading and doing it in the minute, they definitely would have got screwed in that, for better or for worse. When I do my trading, when VIP do our trading, we tend to do still like day trading sort of thing, but more swing trading. So we'll set zones. We normally do our trading, on the 4-hour chart, the day chart, and just, like we had a trade. Like I said, I mentioned the trade of Casper, the one that we filled in on last week, which is just one example of many we got going on in there, where we put an entry zone around here, and we rode the trade all the way down here. That took a few days, but we were patient enough, and we made the gains from it. We made 200% over 3x in it, which is very, very cool. Market's high. Yeah, it's going to stay that way forever, though. No matter what market you go into, be it crypto right now is the biggest because it's so small and it's volatile, but it happens in stocks, happens in equities, everything's manipulated. It's a dog-eat-dog world. All you can do is just be as cautious as possible and trying to follow along with it, basically. And make your money when you can do, of course. But with that being said, family, thank you all for tuning in today's live stream. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. If you did, please leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. If you want to find out more, stay ahead of the game, check out the free server to tune into the general conversation going on in there. Check out the VIP for even more in-depth analysis, market insights, trade alerts, private live streams, and so much more. We're actively making money and finding our entry zones for this market recovery. And also check out BYDFI, our affiliate exchange, and all that good stuff. That being said, family, have a great day, good evening, and